Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here from Phoenix, Arizona, in the BEA beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com, which is moving. Yeah, next couple of months, we're moving. You know, we're going to, on the Lone Prairie, where we're going to start getting ready to leave, so we're ready. Because all this stuff just keeps getting worse. Now, no, is it getting better? Let me think. No. So we need to decide. Well, a lot of this we saw coming a long time ago, and it had a lot to do. We could see here in Phoenix, Arizona, they would have billboards. I think they still do. Billboards all over the city. Be a policeman. Yeah, you want to be a police officer. You want to be a prison guard. You want to work for Homeland Security. You want to. Cause. And a lot of people did. And we knew that, a lot of us have friends, and you have friends that have kids and kids' friends, and so on. They go in, and you're going, wow, man, they're giving that guy a badge? He was a butthead, needed to be kicked out of school back in the day anyway. So the quality of character, the quality of a person, and they would determine quality of character in a different way. They would go, your quality of character is you were a Marine, and you learned how to kill people and break things. And we're going to put you in, you got a nice big barrel chest, and we're going to put you in here, give you a gun, and go do the will of the man. All right. Well, when you saw this go from peace officer, which started happening even when I was young, from peace officer to law enforcement. And there's a difference. There's a difference in mindset. And if it's the law, I'm enforcing the law. Well, I maybe I don't want to Judge Dredd out there, being judge and jury, but, they are. They just make it up as they go along. And I'm sure we'll get confirmation of that from the trainer. But first, I want to go to Nick. He's got a lot of guys, cop block. He said, hey, man, I'm going to have this guy. We're going to ask some questions. So I'm going to let him just go ahead and do some questions here. Nick, go ahead and do it, man.
Okay. A lot of people wanted to know what you did before you were a defensive instructor at the police academy, and maybe how you ended up working with the police academy.
Okay, I started out as an amateur boxer when I was very young. Then I moved into martial arts. I was very big into martial arts, and two of my primary instructors were former police officers and also former police trainers. So that kind of led me down the path where I ended up being recruited, so to speak, to follow in their footsteps and take over as a police instructor.
Okay, so you were the police instructor. Were you the police instructor? Did you have people working under you? Obviously, you probably didn't come in very high. Did you work yourself up, or to go into that for me?
Yes, we only had usually 2, 3 at the most instructors at any given time. Of course, I did come in at the bottom. I was the assistant defensive tactics instructor initially, and eventually I moved to the position where I was the primary defensive tactics instructor.
So you said the quality of recruits was one of the big reasons you started to change your mind, and the lowering of the standards. Was there a common pattern that emerged with lowering of standards? Like how did the jurisdictions start lowering their standards?
Well, some of this is going to be personal opinion. One thing I noticed is a lot of nepotism. It seemed to be very common to find out that a substandard recruit was the nephew of the chief's wife or something like that, or in some cases it was the son of a judge or son of a mayor. I saw this very frequently. And the common thread that I saw with that is it seemed like every time I found out some fact like that about a recruit, it was because he was a poor recruit to begin with. And when I tried to either have him remediated in some fashion or maybe even suggested that he just didn't belong there, I was informed, well, we have to be careful because this is Judge so-and-so's son or the chief's nephew, and we really can't do anything. We're going to have to get him through. Now, what I did notice on the whole is just a plain physical weakening of the recruits that came in. Personally, I believe that a strong man, whether he's strong physically, strong mentally, or hopefully both, is much less likely to be a bully than someone who's of weak character. And what I saw were some very weak individuals, weak character, weak physically, and then they were passed through the academy, which became almost like a McDonald's academy, in my opinion, and they were given the power of the state, they were given authority, a gun, and no accountability.
Okay, now there's one thing I want to bring up on this. About 10 years ago, late 90s, early 2000s, so on, it was before 9/11, there was a story of a state police officer that applied. Well, he wasn't an officer yet. He wanted to become highway patrolman or something. And what he did is Connecticut, wasn't it? We had talked about it. I think it was Connecticut, where he applied and filled out and did all the testing and everything. And he's a smart guy. You know, he wanted to serve. I mean, he's of the right mind, he thought. And he went in and he said, why is it you hired this guy, and this guy, which I know to be subpar, and I didn't qualify? What the heck? And the response was, you're too smart. And they made the argument, and it went to suit and everything. That's when you get your government number, you know, there's a lawsuit, and it hit the internet. And even though it was kind of, you know, smaller back then. But what happened was, all of a sudden we became aware of the idea that law enforcement and different municipalities and state police and so on thought that if you had too high an IQ, you wouldn't be a good officer, because you wouldn't take orders. You start thinking for yourself. And we go, yep. And that's when we started paying attention. Yes, they don't want you to be an intelligent individual out there actually taking your oath of office seriously and serving the public and being a peace officer. Heck no. You are just a cog in the machine. You are the tip. You just do what the hell we tell you. Well, you know, do you remember when that happened?
Yes, I do remember when that happened. I remember reading several reports about that particular case. I don't know of any particular department that I dealt with that had an intelligence test per se, but I do know that many of them use psychological examinations, and they sent recruits to meet with psychologists and were interviewed quite extensively. What I suspect is that, just as you mentioned, that they were looking for recruits who would take orders, not question orders, and of course that goes perfectly hand in hand with the fact that they prefer military veterans.
Okay, another question for the break.
Well, so the military veterans, what was the main reason that they wanted to go work for the cops? I know you touched on it a little bit before, but we talked a little bit earlier about the adrenaline rush that they might have got over in the combat areas.
Yes, there were downtimes during training where I would ask recruits different questions, like the generic ones. Why did you want to become a police officer? What do you hope to accomplish? And that sort of thing. And what I found was a trend. The last 3 or 4 years that I instructed, I found that many of the veterans told me specifically that they wanted to go on SWAT teams. That was their number one answer. And when I questioned them, why do you want to be on SWAT? And they made it very clear that they had gotten comfortable and enjoyed kicking in doors in Iraq, pushing people around, and basically being the men in charge. So they were looking forward to doing that here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, next question.
Did you have the power?
Next! Gotta wait. Going into the break. See, you can see this is a rare, nothing surprising, I'm sure, but from someone that's dealing with these people. And then when we come back, we'll get some more questions from Nick. But I talked to John yesterday, and there was some other things. You have the officers, they know them, and they start telling them how it really is after training and what kind of training they get when they're going on their ride-alongs with their supervisors. This is Ernest Hancock. I'm publisher of freedomsphoenix.com and the radio talk show host of Declare Your Independence. Now, I want to give you my personal endorsement of a wealthy U.S. citizen that is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He's produced a video for you. It's a real eye-opener, and I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to watch it. www.endofamerica, the numbers 1 and 7.com. Endofamerica17.com. This video has the history of how we got where we are now and where we're going and why. Now, it's a lengthy video. It'll be about 20 minutes, but you need to watch this so you understand what's going to happen to this country and how you can protect your wealth and even benefit financially. Now, you go there. It's free. I want you to watch this video. You need to have this information so that you can survive the economic collapse that's coming to America. It's not if, it's when. That's End of America, the numbers 1 and 7.com. After you watch it, you'll understand why I endorsed it.